Where do I even begin? Shout out to Woo, but we do the Woo with the P at the end. Big shout out to the city, big shout out to the Crippin'. With this big dime who business, this big power who business slipping. Spin it, there's no getting out but you win it. Big 45 my side of a slide, stretch nigga out like a gymnast. Way down there, Hooterville, got goons ready when the big homie says time for war. Grab a Glock 9, grab a 30 clip, put a red flag on the ironing board. Get the squeeze it, get packed out no reason. Y'all do it for the cam, even got fans holding up signs, go defense. We don't do that over here, y'all got little niggas in the field, that shit pop Warner. Other side might let it slide when you cross the line, you in hot water, that's so old. Niggas got clips like Holo. Holo back then, I would have a big bright red flag right side of my Phobos. We slide whole gang with us. My side just train the bus. My gospel bangers up. Tough line, no taming us. My side just dangerous. This gang. So old. Wear bright red like Musho. Just bought a big bright red cloth, make a nigga look like a big pyro go roll. Whoa, so old. They let the animals in the Zolos. You don't want me to get your name, hit the stake, get again.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hop in the Suwoop Mobile and get everything started. Starting off in P3 on Daily Race C. We have Tyrant and JC West in front of us, followed by Pony, Boom Shakalaka, Gavin H, Donuts, and I won't even attempt to massacre the name of the person in 8th place. Coming along turn 1 here, Tyrant swings out left, and I have to slow down quite a bit to ensure that there's no collision. I'm not a big fan of penalties on behalf of other players, so I slow down and stay in pursuit of this vehicle, trying to get the slipstream, and I swing wide, hit the wall, and now I have a pack of dogs on my tail. Here from the perspective of Gavin H, who has moved up quite a few places and then winds up directly behind me, where they have massive collision, which I'm happy that I was able to start in P3 to avoid all of this. And we can see what's going on with Tyrant. Taking this wide sweeping hairpin here, we're going to gain just enough on the lead. We're going to cut just enough on the lead to make it competitive, where obviously I'm much too far to go for a move, but I'm going to take this right-hander a lot cleaner than Tyrant does in the Toyota, and hopefully I can make up pace. Again, this is only the first lap here, so I would say as long as we're in the runnings, as long as we can keep it close, we're good. And you just gotta admire the way the Suwoop Mobile looks. Actually, you don't. It's a Volkswagen, and let's be honest, the Beetle, you would never expect the Beetle to be the best car at anything except for ensuring that you don't get laid, because Beetles are very ugly cars. But heading out to the end of lap 1, I've cut back on the lead of Tyrant quite a bit. JC West with the fastest lap on this one, but I don't believe that's a record that's going to stand too much longer. There's a yellow flag. Must have been some terrible deeds taking place. And what do you know, the guy in last place is still in last place. Right now I'm 2 seconds off of my time. Tyrant has stepped up into first, and I've stepped up into P2. Gonna give you guys a better view with the chase cam here. And Tyrant just happens to get the tail end of his vehicle in the grass. Approaching the hairpin once again. This is a track that is riddled with hairpins all over the place. It's just hairpin after hairpin after hairpin. after hairpin after hairpin. Seems that Tyron was actually increasing his lead, but he slowed down excessively to get around that hairpin, and it cost him a couple attempts where I'm going to attempt to make a move, but he just swings out wide there, ends up in the grass, and we're in P1. We're off to the races. We have JC West coming up in second, and as far as I'm concerned at this point in time, there's nothing anybody can do to stop me from getting that good old first place win, that pole position, that W. Taking his first hairpin. I think we've latched on, and it's going to swing us out. Yet another hairpin. Another hairpin. It's just hairpin after hairpin after hairpin on this match. Surprisingly, up until this point, I have not finished first in any of these races in driver rating C. I have done B, but since I've moved back up to, I haven't done D, but since I've moved back up to C, I haven't been able to get. I've gotten tons of podium finishes, but never first. So right now, this is promising. If I can just get Mr. JC West out of the tow, there's a W all over this. And I rev out fourth gear a bit, which is not something I usually do. With this car, you really want to shift as soon as possible. Revving actually doesn't help you much. Approaching another of the hairpins that comes after a hairpin. And JC West has momentum on me, but I'm trying to cut him off as much as possible just to keep him at bay. He swings out right there. And every time I think, hey, I'm going to pull away, he does an excellent job of finding a way to kill my lead. Approaching the start of lap 4 here. We're gonna get quite a bit of interesting things that are going to take place during this lap. Quite a bit of interesting things here. So if you pay attention, you direct your eyes up to the camera. Here, let me show you. Ooh. At this time, I'm thinking, cha-ching. But excellent job of sticking with it on the behalf of JC West. He does an excellent job of regaining stability of the car. And an even better job of catching this goddamn penalty. I know that hurts. I know it hurts. So we have JC West in second with a half a second penalty and a crash, but somehow he's still in hot pursuit of the Suwoop-mobile. Lap 5, we're approaching the larger of the hairpins, and JC West is flying here. Just straight flew around that hairpin. And you can see him gaining quite a bit of momentum here around the little hairpin. We go to a bigger hairpin. It's going to lead to yet another bigger hairpin, and I believe he's just got the toe. So now we have him in the slipstream. I'm going to try to cut him out of it, which I'm unsuccessful at, but I managed to slow him down quite a bit, and then by cutting him off, he realizes he can't get around. He stays behind the slipstream. Boom, he makes his move. We have a little bit of collision there. I don't think there's a penalty drop there, but I'm gonna chase him. Look at this move. Excellent move. Where we go back and forth and jockey for position. Following closely behind in P2, we have the Suwhoop Mobile approaching this hairpin that comes after a hairpin that's followed by another hairpin. I'm going to call this turn here the S curl. So we go around the S curl. I actually drift through that corner, which was scary because I thought it would cost me the race, but it didn't. I do a better job going around than him, but his exit is just phenomenal here. So he manages to keep me at bay, and here we have Gavin, but Gavin has made quite the move, and he's now in third place, where I believe Gavin started in 6th maybe. So we're going around, and being that his exit was so much better than mine, he actually ends up not too far behind me, in which I'm trying to get as much as possible, and there he just happens to go at it again and crash again in the same spot again. And now this one is pretty much in the bag. I know the title of the video is Heartache, and you guys probably think the heartache is for me, but you may be wrong. Taking the little hairpin that leads to the big hairpin that leads to a bigger hairpin, we have about a 5-second lead going around this hairpin. Keep that in mind, a 5-second lead going around this hairpin. And we're going to take a little hairpin that leads to another big hairpin, which is pretty much the course of this. It's just hairpin turns. It's just hairpins after hairpins after hairpins that lead to straights with hairpins. It almost can drive I think it's fairly safe to say this can drive you crazy how wide I take this hairpin and how many hairpins there are. Now we're again I'm going to call this turn the S curl. Approaching the S curl. There's no drift this time. Shift down in the second, back in the third relatively quickly. Fourth, rev it out just a tad. And JC West is approaching the hairpin that I just took, the small hairpin that leads to the big hairpin that leads to a larger hairpin, and the S curl. Is a relatively slow exit, as you can see in the front. If you can glimpse it, you have me going around this big hairpin that leads to a bigger hairpin. Exiting at around 110 miles per hour. 5-second lead, solid 5-second lead, lap 7. Taking these little turns that leads to a big hairpin. very gentle on the throttle here, and then full throttle to a little hairpin. That leads to a big hairpin. And here, my friends, is where the heartache begins. Because as you can see, JC West doesn't slow down, doesn't check to see if I'm alright, doesn't even care, just keeps going. Should at least ask if I was okay, which obviously he didn't care to do. Now it is me in pursuit, Mr. JC West. I still have the fastest lap at this time, and I'm in P2. This is lap 7, and we're on a large hairpin that leads to a small hairpin, that leads to a big hairpin, that leads to a medium hairpin, that leads to a large hairpin. Full throttle ahead. I'm catching small glimpses of him. He's just ahead on this straight, already at the hairpin that leads to another hairpin. And I don't think I swing out wide here, no. I take it at around 75 miles per hour, exit, get up to speed relatively quickly, hit 5th gear. There we are. We're in eyesight, and if he makes a mistake, hopefully we can capitalize on it. I'd prefer him not to make a mistake, but at this point I'll take the victory however it can come. Seems like we have a car in pit, and there he takes down my fastest lap. So let's see if we can get our hands on this guy. Exiting the hairpin in 5th gear. Quickly up to 6. Ooh. And there we lose it all. Let's take a look at that again. We go airborne, drifted out Tokyo style. And now, I think it's safe to say that the best we can do is fight to stay in second. Our boy TC West is over the hairpin, and I'm coming out the first hairpin where everything went wrong. You know, the hairpin that leads to the hairpin, that leads to the other hairpin, that leads to the hairpin, that leads to the other hairpin, that leads to the finish line where you'll be greeted by a hairpin. So now no longer can I place first. Effectively, because of the crashes, killed the chances I have of getting fastest lap as well. So we'll go around to this hairpin and try to see if we can keep Mr. Gavin at bay. Mr. Gavin at bay. And we have a change at the bottom. Mr. Albanese overtaken Lewis. The two Brazilians out back, they've swapped positions, and Mr. Gavin is right behind me. But we're pulling away a bit, and we're just approaching the hairpin that leads to the finish line, that leads to the hairpin. And there we have JC West with podium finish in first. Nothing we can do. And this has been a heartbreak. Absolutely broke.
Louis.
This my hood, nigga. This Lewis Park, this Fruit Town, this mob, little nigga. This Lime Hood, nigga. Come see what happens in the dark. This Treetop, this Cedar Block, this Capnella Park. This Level Gardena with 10. Flag out the window, slide down Am Street in the Benz. I'm on Rosecrans, pouring out with the Cedars in them. But I'm 1 through 5, never made me repeat it again. Where do I even begin? Shout out the woo, but we do the woo with the P at the end. Big shout out to the city, big shout out to the Crippin'. But this big Damo business, this big Pyro business, slippin', spin it. There's no getting out but you win it. Big 45 my side of a slide, stretch nigga out like a gymnast. Way down there, Hooterville, got goons ready when the big homie says time for war. Grab a Glock 9, grab a 30 clip, put a red flag on the ironing board. Get the squeeze it, get packed out no reason. Y'all do it for the cam, even got fans holding up signs, go defense. We don't do that over here, y'all got little niggas in the field, that shit pop Warner. Other side might let it slide when you cross the line, you in hot water, that's so old. Niggas got clips like Holo back then, I would have a big bright red flag right side of my phobos. We slide whole gang with us, my side just train the bus. My gospel bangers up, tough line no taming us. My side just dangerous, this gang, so old. Wear bright red like Musho, just bought a big bright red cloth, make a nigga look like a big Pyro go roll. Whoa, so old, they let the animals in the Zolos. You don't want me get your name, hit the steak, get the gang, had the bloods on your noodle like Voodoo. Whoa, Pyro, burgundy paint on my coat. Gang outside, but I ride through little brush, chuck peas up to the high noon. Hola, had to get the fuck off of the old block. I gotta go to a spot where there's no cost spot. If you dropping, just making it so hot. Whoa, sparking, all riverbanks, no coffins. Last nigga tried me, gang in the V, they did that boy so awful, yeah. Gave them joy wholehearted, yeah. Take your block, Bogart, yeah. Hit your head close target, yeah. Bitch, I beg your pardon, yeah. Gang, motherfucker, gang, nigga. Thought he was getting over. Last time I heard, they ain't seen him since he left his house on Minnesota. Cops ain't got no lead. Mama praying for him, hope it's getting closer. Thought about putting my autograph on the missing poster. This so wear bright red like Musho. Just bought a big bright red cloth, making it